Have you heard of Digimon? Digimon as a franchise has existed for almost as long as Pokemon, and yet growing up, Digimon has always been considered the fake Pokemon. Since I never got into Digimon as a kid, I always assumed that was the case, that Digimon was like a fake version of Pokemon that was trying to capitalize on the accomplishments that Pokemon had. But now that I'm older and I lost interest in Pokemon over time, I was always kind of curious about what other creature collecting games there were, and obviously Digimon was one that came to mind. Pretend that you don't see these. I'm not talking about Pokemon as a franchise, I'm just talking about the games, okay? Looking at Steam, there's actually quite a few Digimon games already on there, and honestly, they kind of range from genre to genre. You have Digimon World Next Order, which is like a open world RPG that's like an adventure game. Then you have Digimon Survive, which is more of like a visual novel tactical RPG. The game I want to talk about today, though, is Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Also, I just want to be clear about my intentions with this video. I don't want this to be a Pokemon bad, Digimon good kind of video. I like both franchises now, but Pokemon has just frustrated me, and so I just kind of looked into the alternatives and just happened to find that Digimon did kind of fill the similar feeling that I was looking for. So yeah, I don't want this to be like an overly negative video. I will make comparisons between the two games, but that's just because Pokemon is the obviously much more relevant culturally one. But I don't want to make it into like a, man, Digimon is just so much better, or Pokemon stinks now. You know, just that's not my intention with this video. I just want to talk about this game that I hope that some people will play because of this video, or if they've never heard of what Digimon actually is, or just anything like that, you know? So anyway, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is a creature collector turn-based RPG that came out in 2015. There was a sequel released in 2017 called Hacker's Memory, but now both games are sold together as a complete edition on platforms like Steam and PlayStation. Also, just a disclaimer, I've not actually played Hacker's Memory, I've only played the base game of Cyber Sleuth, so that's all I'm talking about right now. I'll probably play Hacker's Memory before Time Stranger comes out later, but yeah, right now I'm just talking about the base game. You play as a silent protagonist before he's invited to Eden, which is basically a virtual reality universe. While he's there, he learns the programs that are used to capture and command Digimon, but is attacked and sort of half dies. You basically become a digital entity that exists in the real world, but so does your original body. So you're a program that has a physical manifestation independent to your original body. Don't worry about it too much. The real world and the digital world start colliding, which culminates in what is essentially a civil war for Digimon, with half of the Royal Knight Digimon deciding to destroy the Earth, and then the other half deciding to defend it. See, the motivations for the ones that want to destroy the Earth is because the evil creatures that are throughout the game are created because of humans' negative emotions, and they started attacking the digital world. So the king is like, hey, I need you guys to stop these evil creatures from destroying the digital world, and some of the royal knights decide, might as well stop it at the source. And so they start kind of doing this plan of going to the human world and destroying the planet and destroying the universe to stop the humans from continuing to infect their world. Obviously, not all of the Royal Knights are so genocide-y, hence the Civil War. So anyway, you stop the big bad, save the universe, everything's good to go by the end of the game. I think the story's generally pretty fun. You know, it's got some silly moments and some kind of convoluted plot lines, but what JRPG doesn't? The thing I want to focus on, though, is the gameplay for this. Because, as anyone who's played Pokemon games would know, no one else makes Pokemon. Obviously, there are other creature collector games like Dragon Quest Monsters, or indie games like Nexomon, or Cassette Beasts, or Temtem, but for whatever reason, a lot of these games don't feel like Pokemon. Or, at the very least, they don't have the same drawing power that Pokemon does. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out that Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is kind of just like Pokemon. I mean, it's not perfectly identical. While it has types, evolving, and turn-based combat with creatures The similarities are pretty much just that. The way it uses typing is different, the way you digivolve works completely differently, and because you use 3 Digimon in combat, the turn-based gameplay doesn't even quite match. Regardless, I thought the gameplay was quite fun and the story was interesting, so Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth became my official entry point in the franchise, and with Digimon Story Time Stranger coming out soon, I thought this was a perfect time to talk about this game. Also, did you guys know that there's like 1,500 Digimon? I mean, it's not specific to anything, it's just kind of insane. All Digimon fall into 4 different types: vaccine, data, virus, and free. Attacks that Digimon use can be one of 9 different attributes: fire, plant, water, electric, wind, earth, light, dark, and neutral. Both the types and the attributes have advantages and disadvantages, and all of those get applied in combat. So if your Digimon has a type advantage and it uses a move that has an attribute advantage, you can do 3 times the amount of damage with 1 move. This also works in the inverse though, so you can essentially only do like half damage if you do a disadvantaged type and disadvantaged attribute. So while you can definitely draw comparisons between the attributes of moves in Digimon versus Pokemon, the types of Digimon do give it a little bit of uniqueness. The way you get Digimon is different as well. You just have to keep fighting them over and over until your scan is at least 100% or more. At that point, you can just make the Digimon. Up to this point, I found all the mechanics and the systems in this game to be pretty self-explanatory. They are similar to other RPGs as well as other creature collector games like Pokemon and Dragon Quest and things like that. But one mechanic in this game that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me at first, but I kind of got used to it after a while, is the Digivolve system. The way Digivolving works is when a Digimon reaches certain requirements like level and stats, you can Digivolve them to a stronger form. While this initially seems pretty straightforward, you'll also quickly realize that in order to get the strongest Digimon, you'll also have to de-Digivolve. De-Digivolving is when you reverse the Digivolve of a Digimon to revert them to a weaker form. Why would you want to do this? Well, you'll quickly find out that in order to get the strongest Digimon in the later parts of the game, you'll need to de-Digivolve to then re-Digivolve the same Digimon to make sure that they have the stat requirements. While I was playing the game, there was a point where I was trying to Digivolve one of my Digimon, and for whatever reason, it just wouldn't get a high enough level. So eventually, I looked it up because I'm sure that it probably explained it and I just ignored it in the game. And I found out that you have to de-Digivolve them to then re-Digivolve them so that the level cap actually goes higher. Because if I didn't do that, then I literally couldn't reach the minimum required level for the next Digimon. This was obviously kind of a frustrating system for me at first, because I was going into this game kind of expecting Pokemon, but obviously Digimon is not Pokemon. It never really was, and it never really pretended to be. So this system was just completely foreign to me, but once I kind of thought about it and got used to it, I appreciate it a lot more, but I can definitely see this being a kind of pain point for anybody who wants to get into Digimon, and their only real experience with the genre is just Pokemon games. Anyway, I previously went over the story earlier, very briefly. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance within the story, character interactions, character storylines, things like that. I'm not really going to go over them a whole lot. I liked the story. I thought it was fine. There wasn't anything groundbreaking. But I would say if you're interested, I would say 100% just buy the game, play it. You get essentially 2 games in one. Like I said, I haven't played Hacker's Memory, but from what I can tell online, it's just a direct sequel or like a full-on expansion akin to like other huge expansions like the Witcher 3 games or the Elden Ring DLC. So I would say just buy it. It's pretty cheap. It's available everywhere. You might as well. I had a pretty good time with the game as a lifelong Pokemon fan, and I figure a lot of other people might be in the same boat where they're looking for something to kind of expand their horizons regarding the creature collecting genre. So I would say this is a perfect opportunity to get into the game, especially because there's going to be a new one that's coming out pretty soon. So yeah, I would say 100% check this out if it interests you. Thank you for watching this video if you did. I'm gonna try and make more videos about stuff that interests me. Obviously, this video was a little bit short. I didn't really go over like a super ton of things. But I mean, it was a pretty straightforward game, you know? It's a pretty good JRPG that's got Digimon in it. Feels kind of like Pokemon. It's just good. So check that out. I'll hopefully make more videos in the future. So if that interests you, I guess subscribe. And thank you for watching.